Hello, everybody. Welcome to Easy Studying, and this is part 6 of Crop Production and Management, Class 8. So, if I'm correct, I think we finished seed drill, but let's just have a quick recap on seed drill. Okay. So, as you know, we did the traditional tool right before this. Let's recap on this as well. So, the traditional tool is basically like a funnel. You put seeds in this little funnel like structure over here, and it goes down, and then it goes into the soil, and then this is just to put the soil back. Okay, so now let's move on to our seed drill. We did this last video, but let's just have a quick recap. Okay, nowadays the seed drill is used for sowing with the help of tractors. This tool sows the seeds uniformly at proper distances and depths. It ensures that seeds get covered by the soil after sowing. This prevents damage caused by birds. Sowing by using a seed drill saves time and labor. Okay, so the reason you cover, like, see, when you're planting a plant, let's say you are growing a plant, okay? So first you put it in the soil, you put the seed in the soil, okay, that's my seed. You put it up here, okay? Let's suppose you put it up there. Soon you'll realize that birds will come and they'll eat it up. So what farmers do, and what we all probably do, and we all might not know it, we put the seeds underground. We put it like under here, so that the birds, if they come, they cannot get it because it's protected by a layer of soil. Okay, all right, so now let's move on. And the seed drill is basically like an advanced version of the traditional tool. So okay, I hope that much is clear. 1 minute. Yeah, let's move on. An appropriate distance between the seeds is important to avoid overcrowding of plants. This allows plants to get sufficient sunlight, nutrients, and water from the soil. Sometimes a few plants have to be removed to prevent overcrowding. So what this paragraph basically means is that if I have a plant over here, okay, suppose this is a plant. Sorry, my drawing's really bad. Suppose this is a plant. This is the soil. You cannot keep too many plants at the one place because this soil has only a limited amount of nutrients, okay? Has a limited amount of minerals and nutrients, okay? So if you do keep all of them here, all the nutrients will get used up, and since no plant is going to get sufficient nutrients, all of them are going to die. So it's best that you space it out. You keep a few feet of space, and so each plant can get their own nutrients, sunlight, and water. Okay, I hope that much is clear. If you have any doubts, just ask me, like in the comments or whatever. Okay, adding manure and fertilizers. The substances which are added to the soil in the form of nutrients for the healthy growth of plants are called manure and fertilizers. This paragraph is very important because this is the definition of manure and fertilizers. So please learn that. Okay, all right, so let's move on now. Remember this, in your exam it could come, what is manure, or what is fertilizers, or what is the difference between manure and fertilizers, because fertilizers is like chemical fertilizers, manure is natural. So okay, and so the definition of manure and fertilizers are the substances which are added to the soil in form of nutrients for the healthy growth of plants are called manure or fertilizers. Okay, let's move on. Soil supplies mineral nutrients to the crop. These nutrients are essential for the growth of plants. In certain areas, farmers grow crop after crop in the same field. The field is never left uncultivated or fallow. Imagine what happens to these nutrients. So basically what they're saying is that in some certain areas, some farmers, after crop is like you grow a bunch of them at the same place, a bunch of the same type of crop. Like if I'm taking wheat, if I say that's a wheat crop, that means there's a lot of wheat in that same area. And so what some farmers do is that after that wheat is harvested, they use the same soil and plant more wheat or plant something else. Like if I'm planting rose first, okay, if I plant rose and if I plant legumes afterwards, so I'll plant rose first, and you know that rose requires a lot of nitrogen. So if I plant rose first, it'll take all the nitrogen. Then after I harvested the roses, I'll put legumes in, and legumes produces nitrogen. Like it doesn't need it. So after legumes, if I plant rose again, it'll still work because the rose needs nitrogen and legumes has left a lot of nitrogen for the rose. Okay, so sometimes that can happen, or sometimes all the minerals from the soil can be taken out by the plants and the field is completely useless. Unless you add manure and fertilizers, then it'll be fine. Okay, and also one thing I wanted to make clear is that this word yield, I just realized I didn't tell you the definition. Yield, this is the spelling, yield. Okay, so now what is the meaning of the word yield? Okay, yield is the finished product. Okay, yield, this particular word means the finished product. Okay, and after you get a good batch of yield, means a good finished product, then you can sell it in the market. Okay, I hope that much is very much clear. Let's move on. Okay, the field, okay, continuous growing of crops makes the soil poorer in certain nutrients. Therefore, farmers have to add manure to the fields and replenish the soil with nutrients. This process is called manuring. Now, this is another important paragraph because this is telling you the definition of manuring. Okay, this. So, what is the definition of manuring? The definition of manuring is adding manure to the fields to replenish the soil with nutrients. This process is called manuring. Okay, so please learn these definitions, whichever one I'm marking important. This one is important. Please learn them. Okay, manure is an organic substance obtained from the decomposition of plant or animal wastes. The farmer dumps plant and animal waste in pits at open places and allow it to decompose. The decomposition is caused by some microorganisms. The decomposed matter is used as organic manure. You have already learned this little bit about this in class 6. Okay. Now this is an experiment you can do. You can basically, what they're saying is, you can in this one, you don't in your glass A, you plant a seed. You can add moong dal, something like that. Plant a seed and just give it water, no manure. In B, you can give it chemical fertilizers, and in C, you can give it natural manure. That means cow dung and something like that. You will notice that the B will grow the fastest, C will grow next, and then A will come last, because chemical fertilizer is the most efficient. Okay, let's move on. Fertilizers are chemical substances which are rich in a particular nutrient. How are these different from manure? Now this one is important. This is showing the difference between manure and fertilizers, which will definitely come in your exam, because a lot of kids get that confused with manure and fertilizers. So here's the difference. Fertilizers are produced in factories. Some examples of fertilizers are urea, ammonium sulfate, superphosphate, potash, NPK. Now NPK, keep in mind before I continue, NPK means nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. Here, let me write it for you. NPK's definition is nitrogen, phosphorus. This might come in your exam, it's not sure, but phosphorus. Oh. And last but not least, potassium. Alright, so I hope that much is clear to you all. Oh, sorry, I didn't. Oh my god, what is wrong with this? Okay, potassium or potassium, whichever one you call. So that is the full form of NPK. I hope that's very clear to you. Alright, let's move on now. Okay, oh, it's written here as well. So nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. Alright, the use of fertilizers has helped farmers to get better yield. Remember the meaning of yield. Yield means the end product, the finished product, the product you can sell, the end product. Okay, I hope this is clear. Yield is the end product. Okay, alright, so to get better yield means to get a better end product, to get a better finished product, okay, of crops such as wheat, to get good wheat, paddy and maize. Paddy is your rice, okay, but excessive use of fertilizers has made the soil less fertile. Fertilizers have also become the source of water pollution. Therefore, in order to maintain the fertility of soil, we have to use substitute fertilizers by organic manure, or leave the field uncultivated, aka fallow, in between two crops. The use of manure improves soil as well as soil texture as well as its water retaining capacity. It replenishes the soil with all the nutrients. Okay, the use of manure improves the soil's texture as well as its water retaining capacity. Okay, water retaining capacity. Okay, and that means when you use manure, it improves the soil's texture and it increases the capacity of the water it can hold, and it also replenishes the soil with all the nutrients. Means it adds more nutrients into the soil. Okay, another method of replenishing the soil with nutrients is through crop rotation. This is the rose and leguminous example I gave you. This is an example of crop rotation. Sorry, I think I put it in the wrong way, but the rose and the leguminous example I gave you, that's an example of crop rotation. It'll probably come here. Okay, crop rotation. This can be done by growing different crops alternatively. Earlier, farmers in northern India used to grow legumes as fodder in one season and wheat in the next season. This helped in the replenishment of soil with nitrogen. See, legumes is rich in nitrogen, so whichever crop needs nitrogen can be planted next season after the legumes, so that it has plenty of nitrogen. Farmers are being encouraged to adopt this practice. In the previous classes, you have learned about Rhizobium bacteria. These are present in the noodles of nodules of the roots of leguminous plants. These fix the atmospheric nitrogen. Now, please learn this table. It will 100% come in your exam. Every exam which has this chapter, it always comes. So please learn this table. It is very important. Okay, let's discuss it now. So, this is the difference between fertilizer and manure. Okay, let's read fertilizer. A fertilizer is an inorganic salt. Manure is a natural substance obtained by the decomposition of cattle dung, human waste, and plants residues. A fertilizer is prepared in factories. Manure can be prepared in the fields. A fertilizer does not provide any humus to the soil. Manure provides a lot of humus to the soil. Fertilizers are very rich in plant nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Manure is relatively less rich in plant nutrients. But sometimes fertilizers can also be harmful, so we have to be careful. This one is also important because these are the advantages of manure. Okay, so keep this one also in mind. This is a very important chapter in general because it gives you an idea of the lives of farmers, the way it works, and plus it's coming for your exam also. So yeah, the organic manure is considered better than fertilizers. This is because it enhances the water holding capacity of the soil. I discussed this earlier. It makes the soil porous, due to which exchange of gases becomes easy. That means it makes the soil porous, means that it makes the soil airy, and the exchange of gases becomes easy. It increases the number of friendly microbes. That means when you have gaps in the soil, friendly microbes that improve the soil by turning it, bringing the bottom layer to the top, and by getting earthworms inside, it increases the number of friendly microbes. It's just better. It improves the texture of the soil. I've also discussed this before. Now our next topic is irrigation. Irrigation is a really important topic as well. It will definitely come in your exam. There will be some questions about irrigation. Okay, I'll finish irrigation and then I think this is the end of the video because it's almost been 20 minutes. So, all living beings need water to live. Water is important for proper growth and development of flowers, fruits, and seeds of plants. Water is absorbed by the plant roots, along with water, minerals, and fertilizers are also absorbed. Plants contain nearly 90% of water. Remember this. Plants contain nearly 90% of water. Okay, plants contain nearly 90% of water. Water is essential because germination of seed does not take place under dry conditions. Nutrients dissolved in water get transported to each part of the plant. Water also protects the crop from both frost and hot air currents. To maintain the moisture of the soil for a healthy crop growth, fields have to be watered regularly. This is just about how you have to water your fields, how you have to water your plants, because all the plants need water to survive. It helps with both frost and hot air currents. So water helps with both frost and hot air currents, and we need to maintain the moisture of the soil for healthy crop growth. Okay, this one's important. The supply of water to crops at different intervals is called irrigation. This is the definition of irrigation. Irrigation is the supply of water to crops at different intervals is called irrigation. Okay, I hope that's clear. That's the definition of irrigation. Now, for one more 2 markers that might come, what is irrigation? The supply of water to crops at different intervals is called irrigation. The time and frequency of irrigation varies from crop to crop. So some crops need more water than other crops too, so you have to give more water to that crop. Some crops like cactus barely even need any water, so you barely have to water it. Soil to soil and season to season. Soil depends on the nutrients in there, and season depends about rabi crops, kharif crops, zaid crops. I don't think I've discussed zaid crops with you right now. I will do that at the end of the chapter, or I'll just do that after irrigation. Okay, because zaid crops, okay, I'll just do it right now. Okay, so in summer the frequency of watering is higher. Why is it so? Because the water from the leaves get evaporated. Okay, now we know about kharif crops. Kharif crops are the rainy season crops. We discussed this before. And then we have rabi crops. Rabi crops are the winter season crops. And then we have another one which is called zaid crops. Okay, which is the summer season crops. The examples are vegetables, summer fruits, and pulses. Okay, so that is that. Zaid crops are also there. Okay, now let's move on. Okay, so I think that's all we're gonna do with this video because it's been 20 minutes. So I will see you at part 7 in the next video. Bye.